Welcome to the deep dive. Ever stop to think about how much of our social world, the rules, the status, it's all just a kind of shared agreement?
Like a collective interpretation we all sort of buy into.
Exactly. Today we're plunging into some really profound ideas from Max Weber and a perspective that grew out of his work, symbolic interactionism.
Fascinating stuff.
Our mission, really, is to see how our individual meanings, our daily interactions, don't just happen in society, but actually actively build it, sometimes in ways we barely notice.
Yeah, get ready to maybe rethink your own social reality a bit.
So it's a crucial topic because, well, a lot of early thinkers looked at the big picture, right? Economic systems.
That struggle.
Grand structures, exactly. But Weber, he's in this unique spot, kind of a bridge figure, connecting those huge structures to the micro level, the individual.
So this deep dive should really show how much our everyday actions are, well, rooted in meaning, personal meaning.
Absolutely. It's all about that subjective layer. Okay. So let's unpack this with Max Weber. He really did fundamentally alter how sociology was approached.
He shifted the focus.
Yeah. Instead of just looking at these giant social structures, he argued sociology's core should be social action. He believed, pretty strongly, that to get society, you have to understand the meanings and motives individuals attach to what they do.
Right. It wasn't just about observing behavior from the outside.
That's why his whole approach is called the social action approach. It's about getting inside why people act from their viewpoint.
Precisely. Before Weber, many sociologists saw society almost like a machine. Clockwork.
Predictable parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Weber said, hang on, we need to look inside the gears at the individual motivations turning them. And central to that is verstehen.
Verstehen.
Okay, it's a German term. Basically means empathetic understanding or maybe interpretive understanding.
So trying to see it from their perspective.
Exactly. What's fascinating is Weber insisted sociologists must really try, to put themselves in the shoes of the people they study. It's not enough just to observe. You need to grasp their motives, the meanings behind what they do.
That sounds powerful, but is there a risk there? If you're trying to empathize, couldn't you just end up projecting your own biases? How do you stay objective?
That's a really excellent question, and it's something Weber definitely thought about. He wasn't talking about just, everyday subjective empathy.
Oh, okay.
It was meant to be a systematic, interpretive understanding. You use careful observation, disciplined observation, plus an imaginative effort to reconstruct their viewpoint, and crucially, you cross-reference it with other data.
Right, so it's not just guesswork.
Not at all. Like, imagine you see someone cleaning their house like crazy. Without verstehen, you might just think, okay, they're obsessive.
Makes sense.
But with verstehen, maybe you find out they're facing a surprise inspection that could cost them their job. Suddenly the action seems rational, driven by deep motivations. That's the difference.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. And a classic example of applying this, the one that really grabbed me, is his big study, The Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism.
Yes, famous one.
Right. So unlike others who saw capitalism as purely economic, purely material forces, Weber argued that religious ideas, specifically the Protestant ethic of Calvinists, played this key, almost unexpected role.
He connected beliefs to economic schist.
Yeah. He detailed how their beliefs encouraged this incredibly strong work ethic, sobriety, living simply, and this is crucial, reinvesting profits instead of spending lavishly.
You've absolutely nailed it. Those religious beliefs, they weren't just personal. They sort of collectively fostered the cultural soil, the conditions needed for capitalism to really take root and flourish.
It really highlights that deep link between belief systems and, well, huge economic changes.
It really does. It makes you wonder, though, were there other things happening, maybe economic forces or historical currents, that Weber might have perhaps downplayed a bit?
That's a fair point, and critics definitely bring that up. They'll say, trade routes, technology, those material conditions were just as, if not more, important.
Sure, the context matters hugely.
Absolutely. But Weber's genius, I think, was showing this cultural, this ideological dimension that maybe others were missing. So, okay, if religion could shape something as big as capitalism, what about forces in our modern world, our seemingly secular world?
Good transition.
Weber saw a powerful trend there, too. He called it rationalisation. He observed modern society becoming more and more dominated by logic, efficiency, calculation. like a well-oiled machine.
Order and predictability taking over.
Exactly. And a direct result of this for Weber was the rise of bureaucracy. He defined it as, organizations built on rational rules, clear hierarchies, specific jobs for everyone.
I mean, big corporations, government agencies.
Totally. Like trying to get something done at the DMV, maybe. Highly efficient in theory, but maybe not always the most human experience.
Precisely. And while Weber absolutely saw its efficiency, he also had this really strong warning about the iron cage.
The iron cage, right.
His worry was that bureaucracy, while efficient, could end up trapping people, locking them into rigid systems of rules, routines, leading to this loss of individuality, of creativity.
Like becoming a cog in the machine.
Kind of, yeah. Think about, say, social media algorithms today. Super efficient at delivering content, right?
Yeah.
But they can also, maybe ironically, narrow our perspectives or stifle those spontaneous, inefficient human connections.
That's a really modern echo of the iron cage, a system so optimized that actually limits us.
Exactly, which raises a big question for us today, doesn't it? What are the real trade-offs in this relentless drive for modern efficiency?
So given Weber's focus on individual meaning, on social action, the next logical step seems to be asking, okay, how do these meanings actually interact day to day? How do they create society?
Yep, that's exactly where symbolic interactionism comes in. It flows so naturally from Weber.
Right. It's a micro-level theory. It zooms right in on everyday person-to-person stuff, focusing specifically on how we navigate the world using symbols.
The core idea is all about symbols and meaning. We don't just react physically to the world. We act based on the meanings we assign to things.
Like a gesture or a word.
Or a flag, or even an object like a wedding ring.
Oh.
They all carry meaning. And this is key. These meanings aren't fixed. They're not set in stone.
They can change.
Absolutely. They're fluid. They're constantly being negotiated, changed, reinforced through our social interactions. Think about a simple thumbs up. It means different things in different places, right?
Totally. Approval here, something else entirely elsewhere.
Exactly. It shows how meaning is fundamentally social, built between people.
Which leads perfectly into Charles Cooley's concept, which I just find so intuitive, the looking glass self.
Ah, Cooley.
He suggested our sense of who we are, ourself, isn't just internal. It's actually a reflection of how we think other people see us.
Like looking in a social mirror.
Precisely. It's kind of a three-step thing. First, we imagine how we appear to someone else. Then, we imagine how they're judging that appearance.
What they think of it.
Right. And finally, we develop our self-concept, how we feel about ourselves, based on those imagined judgments. It's like we're constantly checking that social mirror, tweaking things based on perceived reactions.
And sometimes that mirror isn't very clear, or we misinterpret the reflection, or maybe we don't like what we think we see.
Exactly. And that shapes our confidence, our identity in really deep ways.
And if you connect that to the bigger picture, the looking glass self has huge implications for our self-perception, our social identity. It really drives home how our interactions aren't just moments in time, they're constantly shaping who we believe we are.
Your sense of self is like this ongoing dialogue with the world.
It really is. I remember once, after a really tough presentation, the positive feedback I got afterwards genuinely shifted how I saw my own abilities in that area, a real-life looking glass moment.
Yeah, those moments stick with you. And building on that idea of performance and perception, we get Irving Goffman's absolutely brilliant dramaturgical approach.
Goffman, yes. Performance is key.
He used this fantastic analogy. Social life is basically like a stage play. We're all actors constantly performing different roles depending on the social situation.
Who we're with, where we are.
Right. We're not just, being. We're actively managing our presentation, trying to create a certain impression on our audience. Can you give us a really clear, everyday example of this performance?
Oh, absolutely. Think about getting ready for a job interview versus, say, hanging out with close friends.
Totally different.
Completely. The clothes you wear, the way you speak, your posture, the topics you discuss, it's all different. Or even just talking to your boss versus your best friend.
The language, the tone.
Exactly. In each case, you're adopting a front stage persona. Consciously, or sometimes unconsciously, you're managing the impression you make. Competence for the boss, relaxed camaraderie for your friends.
So we're constantly doing this kind of subtle performance.
All the time. It shapes our interactions, the impressions others form of us, often without us even fully realizing the extent of it.
So, wrapping this up, what does this all really mean? We've explored Max Weber's foundational ideas about subjective meaning, social action, and then how symbolic interactionism grew from that.
both shining a light on the individual.
Yeah, they both illuminate the individual's really crucial role in actively shaping social life, not just being pushed around by it. They show us that society isn't just some fixed thing out there.
Right. It's constantly being made and remade.
In our everyday interactions, through the meanings we share, negotiate, and sometimes fight over.
Indeed. So maybe a final thought for you, the listener. As you go about your day, just think about the meanings you attach to everyday things or situations. Think about the different roles you play. How might these subjective things, these meanings and roles, be quietly shaping your reality and the world around you, maybe far more than you realize? And how might understanding these forces, how might that change the way you navigate your own social world, maybe even change the performances you choose to put on?